Hi guys, welcome back to the Inside 201. This lecture will be the final lecture for Set 1, the introduction of linguistics or the overview of linguistics. Um, After this, we are going to talk about the phonetics, the physical sounds of language. Before we start the lecture today, let's do some review for last time. Last time we talked about the difference between competence and performance. Competence is what we subconsciously know about language or the ability of using language. And we have performance as well. Performance is what we actually do when you use language. And we care about competence instead of performance. Okay. And the other main thing we talk about is the structure of competence or grammar. So there will be several layers of competence, which will be phonetics, phonology, morphology, syntax, semantics, and pragmatics. We are going to talk about these different layers later in this semester. Okay. So let's start the course. Let's start the lecture today. For today. Okay, today we are going to talk about three topics: universal grammar, prescriptive and descriptive grammar, and common misconceptions about language. Okay, let's begin with universal grammar. Universal grammar is also known as nativism or innatism. Okay. The hypothesis is there is a set of underlying rules or properties shared by all human languages that are built-in or innate for human beings. Okay. There are several evidence. Sorry. Before that, let's talk about some analogies to understand this concept. So, in a framework of principles and parameters, this is also a school of thought of Chomsky generative grammar called principles and parameters. The idea is that uh, in our brain, there's a little device called a language acquisition device. It's like a black box. And we can imagine this black box would be something very similar to the box in this picture. So we have a lot of switches inside this box. So that we have different combinations. For example, we have on for this guy and off for this guy, on, off. We have several combinations. And for one combination, we will have one language. For another combination, if we have another combination, then we will get another one. Okay. So the language shares all the languages share the same property, which is this box, and there is a limited number of possible languages. Okay. The other analogies that I can think of is stem cell. So UG would be very similar to stem cell. It's the prototype of language. For stem cell, you'll become kidney, liver, heart, or something else. For UG, you'll become English, Spanish, German, something else. Okay. Another analogy that I can think of is that UG is likely hardware, the machine, and the language will be different operation system. For example, one language will be Windows, the other language will be Mac, and the other language will be Linux. And you can install as many as operation systems in a single machine. It's very similar to the situation that a single human being can speak several different languages, right? Okay. And there are some evidence for UG. Okay. So the evidence goes like this. So if UG exists, then the following is true. Okay, we have three pieces of evidence. The first one is the property of the stimulus. There is not enough exposure of data for children to make generalization of grammar. However, they acquire the grammar or the language easily. There must be something built in already. It means that there's a gap between the input and the output, and what can fill this gap is UG. Okay. The other evidence is convergence. Okay. So children are exposed to different inputs. However, they have the same grammar. So, for example, child A grow up in family A, and so the data that he has is all from family A. And for another child, say B, he is in another family, and all the data he got is different from the data that child A has. So these two children have different inputs. However, they have the same grammar, right? And the third one is called uniformity. All children acquire language go through the same stages in the same order. So these three pieces of evidence will be a supporting evidence for UG. It means that if UG exists, then this would be true. And in fact, these three statements are true. Okay. However, let's think about UG a second time. Is UG a falsifiable claim or hypothesis? Okay, the answer is be a pious linguist. Don't ask this question. Okay, I'm just joking. Actually, I don't think this is a falsifiable claim. I cannot think about anything they can falsify. They can falsify the existence of UG. I'm thinking that actually we have a very similar situation to the alien spaceship crashed in Roswell. However, and how do we think about UG? I think maybe it can be viewed as an asim for the linguistics enterprise. I think maybe the whole linguistics enterprise is trying to find UG, trying to find if there's a UG, then what UG will be like. Okay, and then the second topic is the difference between prescriptive and descriptive grammar. Okay, Actually, this concept is simple, I think. So prescriptive grammar is how one should say to use the language properly. It prescribing how language should like. So there are several well-known uh, examples of prescriptive grammar rules. Like, we never use a preposition to end a sentence with. Okay. Don't use no double negatives. And don't start a sentence with a conjunction. Okay. These rules are uh, funny, right? If you can see what's going on here. Okay. On the other hand, we have descriptive grammar. How one actually use language, describing the patterns of languages in actual use. Linguistic study cares about descriptive grammar only. We don't care about prescriptive grammar at all. Okay. Because linguistics should be a empirical science, we are trying to we are trying to gather facts objectively. Okay. Actually, the problem of prescriptive grammar is that they are not empirical facts. They are fixed. It says what should be there, so there's no scientific validation can be done to verify prescriptive grammar. Okay, and then the final topic for this lecture, misconceptions. And there will be two parts. The first one will be some widespread false ideas. Okay. So it is necessary for a human language to have written system. This is false because there are some languages which do not have written system. Actually, think about this statement twice. Written system is something we have to learn in school. It's not the written system knowledge uh, is not a subconscious knowledge actually. And the second one, this one is interesting. Eskimo has more words for snow than other languages. Um, this statement is false. Actually, Eskimo has no more words for snow than any other languages. If you are interested in this statement, you can read this paper. Actually, English has about 50 words for snow. I have to use quotation for words because actually it's called lexeme. And Eskimo has about 50 leximes for snow as well. Okay. And the other group of misconceptions, prejudice. Some dialects are intrinsically more beautiful than other dialects. This is false. Actually, all the languages are the same. And actually, beautiful, the concept of beauty is very subjective. How do we study beauty in a scientific way? I don't know. Okay. Some human languages are more logical than other human languages. This is false as well. Actually, all human languages are equally complex. Okay. Some languages and dialects are more primitive than others. This is false as well, just as for the same reason as the previous one. All human languages are equally complex. Okay, and this one, French is highly evolved language since it has words for concepts like I cannot read French. Okay, this is false as well, as we can as the same for the same reason that every languages are the same. Actually, there are also some concepts which can be expressed easily in English, but it's very hard for French. For example, it's very hard for French to express the concept of weekend or parking lot, but it's very easy for English. Okay, the final set of misconceptions is about prescriptive grammar. So John don't see nothing with the interpretation that John don't see anything is illogical. This is false. So actually there will be a group of people of specific dialects use this double negation with the interpretation of only one negation. We are going to talk about this and study the structure of this double negation in the syntax when we talk about syntax. Okay, it's just different languages, just different styles. Okay. The second one, you and I are studying logic. It's grammatical better than this one. The same reason, it's just prescriptive grammar. When people use this type of sentences, you just want to know what is the underlying structure instead of judging saying this is you should say this instead of that, right? Okay. On the other hand, we have another set of misconceptions. That's known truth. So actually, everyone has an accent when he or she speaks any language. We can think about accent as the performance or something like that. So accent just the carrier of our knowledge of language. The other one, the presence of a writing system does not appear to correlate with any aspects of language structure. Okay, this is related to the previous concept we are talking about, the written system. Yeah, because written system is not something that we subconsciously know about language. We have to learn how to write in school consciously. So written system would not be really related to the linguistic competence. Okay, that's it for today's lecture. And remember to finish the in-class exercise. And thank you. See you next time.